Okay, welcome back. So lots of success over the lunchtime video. Motivated to keep moding. Keep moding. I'm motivated to keep moding. So let's moot and moo the next section. So the next section is managing. I don't know what. I forgot how to talk. But anyway, this is managing settings and secrets for different environments. Most applications require different settings for each environment to do things like enabling debugging features or pointing to other databases. Some of these settings, like authentication credentials, database passwords, and API keys, are very sensitive, so you must avoid hard coding them into the application files. You can create a config.py file to hold the non-sensitive configuration values and read the sensitive ones from environment variables. In the following code block, you can see the source code for config.py. Okay, so we're going to create a config.py. This is going to have all of our non-sensitive information, and then in a separate file, uh, actually not in a separate file, but in our Python environment. So if I type in echo path, I think that's how you can see it, or if I type in env, yeah. So if you type in env, these are all your environment variables. So these are all specific to your account. If you're not logged into this account, you're not going to see. Now, some of them might be the same, but you can see like the username is here. So you can create a custom variable that has, now it will be plain text, but in order to be able to type env and see it, you'll have to log into this account, which will be a private lockdown account. So that's the best way to do password protection. In the past, I didn't know how to set that up. So like I've done things where like I would like make like a password protected file and then like only allow the file to be read from. So it doesn't have to get complicated. This is a simple, easy way to do it. And it's just as secure as anything else. Where it's a little bit problematic or can be is, let's say you have an account that's just not secure, that lots of people have access to, then a lot of people are going to be able to see the password. So this kind of presumes that your accounts are secure, which often the times, especially in like lab environments, is not the case. So this is not enough to have your code be secure. You want to make sure you've got LDAP or something set up to where your accounts are properly managed and the proper people have access to it and the proper people don't have access to it. Um, but when it comes to actually hosting your code somewhere and people reading it, this will take care of that, because that's the bigger security challenge. You put your code live somewhere and it has all your passwords with it. That's a huge fail. All right, so we're going to prevent that by creating a config.py file and filling out the file with what we see here. I'll just type it all out. Sometimes keeping good typing skills is not a bad thing. Oops, but my caps lock key is broken. Yeah, my caps lock key is not working. Okay, so now we use the OS Python module, get env, so you see that that's the same command I did before, and now we're going to choose the variable name, which is going to be secret key, and now I'm not sure what this second part is, but let's just do what's on there, we might have to go and change that. Okay. Okay, so this code declares a config class used as the base for each environment's configuration. Note that on line 6, secret key is read from an environment variable using os.getEnv. This avoids disclosing the actual key in the source code. At the same time, you can customize any option for each environment. Next, you have to modify app.py to use a different configuration class depending on the environment. This is the full source code of app.py. Okay, and then we'll see later on, we are going to define that environment variable. So here's the super secret key that you don't want to put publicly anywhere. All right, so next step is modifying the app.py file. And just got some new lines to add here. Keep everything else the same. Okay, and we got another line to add down here. Wish I had my caps lock key. All right, and it looks like we do need to modify a line. So it's going to be this line here. Okay. On lines 5 and 6, the configuration is loaded from one of the previously defined classes in config.py. The specific configuration classes will depend on the value stored in the app_settings environment variable. If the variable is undefined, the configuration will fall back to default config by default. Note, for this example, the message on line 11 was modified to show the secret key obtained by app.config.get. You don't typically display sensitive information as part of your responses. This is just an example to show how you can read these values. Now you can see how this works locally by passing some environment variables when launching the app. Okay, so we've got to define our oh, okay. This is actually really cool. So let's try launching the app. So we're going to do secret key equals key read from env var flask run. So we don't have Flask, so let's get Flask. All right, and then we'll try that command again. So we got a problem here. Could not locate Flask application. Oh, okay. So I need to create the Flask app environment variable. It looks like there's some setup, some quick start steps you've got to do after you install it. Since I'm installing it for the first time, I have not completed those steps yet. So let's take a look at what those are. Okay, so we're going to need to set up. Oh, Flask app. Okay, so I think we're going to need to create a Flask app. Yeah, so yeah, we're gonna have to create a Flask app, and then we've got to tell it when we do Flask run which app to start. So here we're doing Flask app equals hello, named after the um, hello.py file that is listed here. So let's take this step by step and just kind of prove my theory for how this works. So if I set this up without a hello.py file, and now I do a Flask run. Um, yeah, so the path slash file provided hello does not appear to exist. Please verify the path is correct. So yeah, so we don't have a hello.py file there. We do have a config.py file, um, but that's not importing Flask. Uh, oh, okay. So I think what we want that environment variable to look like is we want it to say app. So if I rerun 12 again, just so I have it in my buffer, and we set this to app, now we can follow along with the instructions. So let me run that command 11 again. Oops. Appear to exist. The file path does not appear to exist. App does not appear to exist. Okay, so I think I need to give it the absolute path. The relative path is not enough, so we're going to do pwd. So now we've got the path, and then here's the file. So we're going to need to redefine that variable. So this was command 20. We'll rerun command 20 just so it's in the buffer, and then we'll prepend the path name before the file name. Okay, so now it should work. This was command 23, so let's run that command again, and it didn't work. Does not appear to exist. The app is not on Python path, and surely extension is py. Oh, okay. Let's try this. We're gonna do app.py. Oh, okay. So yeah, there was something special about their environment where, or about this where they didn't have to for this hello, they didn't have to include the .py. And I think I know why. I think it's because they have the shebang. No, that's not it. Okay, well, I mean, just include the py, not a big deal. All right, so moving on. Note for this example, the message on line 11 was modified to show the secret key obtained by app.config.get. You don't typically display sensitive information as part of your responses. This is just an example to show how you can read these values. Now you can see how this works locally by passing some environment variables when launching the app. Okay, so this is what I wanted to see. So we've got this secret key environment variable. Let's stop the Flask app, and then we'll do an env pipe grep, and then put in the name of that environment variable. And look at that. You can actually start up this application without even defining the variable. You can temporarily define it while the application is running, but as soon as the application stops, it's no longer anywhere. So you don't even have to worry about whether or not other people can access your account and look at your path environment variables, because you're not actually defining a path environment variable that shows up in the env command. You're just temporarily feeding it to the application, which it uses as long as it's running. It's really, really cool. I didn't even know you could do that. So absolutely no reason to write your password down permanently anywhere. You just write all of your code so that it takes a Linux environment variable, and then you can use the Linux CLI to temporarily create a environment variable that only exists as long as the Flask application is running. And then once you shut it down, there's no record of that password anywhere. It's as secure as it possibly can be. All right, so the above command sets the secret underscore key environment variable and starts the application. If you navigate to that website, which we will do, we'll have to restart this though. Okay, and then we can just do a control click. There we go. The configured secret key is key read from environment variable. Next, commit the changes and push them to the staging environment by running the following commands. Okay, so we should see the message here in the staging environment change once we've finished this commit. So this here is our development environment. So we can just, as we're working, we can go modify our files, take a look at everything. We're good, everything's good. Let's push it to our staging, gather the team around, have everyone review it, try to break it, and if it's all good, we'll promote it to our production. But for now, I finished all my development using my Flask app and using this local host address to, just based on my own files, and everything looks good. So I'm going to go and submit it for review by pushing it to staging. So if I do a get status, you can see I've got 2 files. App was already added before, but I will add it again, and then I'll add config.py. Definitely best practices is to call out specifically the files you are adding. I'm kind of in the habit of just doing a dot because it just adds everything that isn't added. But if you just, I think on some sense I have earned that habit. If you're still new to this, you haven't earned that habit. I would say it's a bad habit. You want to get used to the idea that there might be some files that you don't want to include in your commit. So you've got to get used to tracking the specific files that you want to commit and leaving all the other ones alone. And you do that with the git add command. These commands commit changes in app.py and the new config.py file to the local Git repository, and then push them to the staging environment, which triggers a new building and development process. Before proceeding, you can customize the environment variables for this environment by using the Heroku CLI. Okay, and okay, so we'll do that next. But first, we're going to make sure our staging environment is modified. There we go. And then, of course, our production is not modified yet. We haven't promoted the staging code yet. It's still going through the team review, hypothetically. Okay, so now we can set these secret keys here. Using the config:set command, you've set the value of secret key and app settings for staging. You can verify that the changes were deployed by going to HTTPS Heroku app, okay, in the staging area, and checking that the page shows the message. Yeah, so we have right now this part is a variable text. This is static text. So this a variable text here is going to be what we actually set the key to. So in our tutorial about how to be safe and secure with your code, we're actually publicly on the public internet putting our password. So not the best example for sure, but so hopefully no one actually follows this tutorial using a real password or anything like that, because they'll put their real password on the public internet. But I understand what we're doing. I'm just going to follow along and put the actual password live on the public internet. Okay, so this all looks familiar. So here you can give it environment variables. There we go. All right, so now in our stage environment, we should see this text change. There we go. Now it says the staging key. Using Heroku CLI, you can also get the values of the environment variables for any app. The following command gets all the environment variables set for the staging environment from Heroku. Okay, so I'm familiar with this command. I've used this to take a look at my pipelines. But it looks like you can also use it to get your config vars that you associated with your apps. So my app, Graham's Web Bulb Warnings Stage, my staging version of that app, has two variables that we defined before. So I mean, this isn't as cool to me because they're actually written down and stored. I really liked that example where it was just temporary in flight. You had it written down. But good to know how to access your variables there. As you can see, these values match the previously set ones. Finally, you can promote the new version to production with different configuration values using the Heroku CLI. Okay, yeah, that's kind of cool. You can use different passwords for your staging and your production. So if someone steals your production password, they don't have your staging password. They steal your staging password, they don't have your production password. It's probably best practice. Okay, so now we should have our production environment match our staging environment. Or actually, it won't match. We're gonna be using a different key. We're gonna be using a production key. There we go. So now we have the configured secret key is the production key. We can see this first part that was the static text matches, but now we've got here displaying the key we used for production on the production site and the key we used for staging on the staging site. The first command sets the values of secret key and app settings for the production environment. The second command promotes the new app version, the one that has the config.py file. Again, you can verify that the changes were deployed by going um, to this site. We just did that, and checking that the page shows the configured secret key is the production key. Check and check. In this section, you learned how to use a different configuration for each environment and how to handle sensitive settings using environment variables. Remember that in real world applications, you wouldn't expose sensitive information like secret key. So, hey, they say it. So that's a good thing. Conclusion. Congratulations. Now you know how to create a web application using Flask and how to make it publicly available by deploying it with Heroku. You also know how to set up different environments where you, your team, and your customers can review the app before publishing it. While the example application created in this tutorial is very small, you can use it as the starting point for your next project. In this tutorial, you learned how to create a Python Flask example web application, deploy the web application using Heroku, implement a deployment workflow using Heroku pipelines, manage configuration and secrets for different environments in a secure way. Heroku offers many features that weren't covered in the previous sections, including scaling, databases, and more. Check out the Heroku Dev Center and the Heroku platform documentation to learn about other features that will help you accelerate your development. Finally, check out the tutorial series Flask by Example to see how you can create and deploy a more complex application. You can click the link below to get the full source code for this tutorial's application. Okay, so we finished the first um, step in the learning path. Which is here, project setup. So the next step, we're going to be setting up a database. And I'm a little bit tempted to stop the video here. Um, but it looks like it's somewhat straightforward, and I've only been spending a half an hour. Usually I go an hour to an hour and a half per video, so I'm tempted to keep going, even though it's kind of a logical stopping point. Um, yeah, you know what? I'm going to keep going. So the next part is Flask by example, setting up Postgres, SQL Alchemy, and Alembic. In this part, we're going to set up a PostGRES database to store the results of our word counts, as well as SQL Alchemy, an object relational mapper, and Alembic to handle database migrations. Free bonus, click here to get access to a free Flask plus Python video tutorial that shows you how to build Flask web app step by step. Okay. Remember, here's what we're building, a Flask app that calculates word frequency pairs based on the text from a given URL. Part one, step up. So hopefully I don't have to go back and do those parts. But part one, let's see what part one, what that link goes to. Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. So we already did part one. So now, yeah, and now this is highlighted in bold. We're doing part two of a 8-part series. Last set of videos I did, setting up Heroku and all that, that was part one. So part one is complete, and we are now doing part two. Let's not worry about reading the rest of this because we'll get there when we get there. Let's just focus on part two, which is to set up a PostgreSQL SQL database along with SQL Alchemy and Alembic to handle migrations. Okay, so I'm pretty sure I've got all of these requirements uh, met. I'm not going to worry about that. I'm just going to go on. If there's a problem with my installation, I'll come back and make sure that I have these requirements satisfied. But to get started and install PostgreSQL on your local computer, if you don't have it already, since Heroku uses PostgreSQL, it will be good for us to develop locally in the same on the same database. If you don't have PostgreSQL installed, PostgreSQL.app is an easy way to get up and running for Mac OS users. Consult the download page for more info. Once you have PostgreSQL installed and running, create a database called word_count_dev to use as our local development database. Okay, so I don't have Mac. I'm using Ubuntu Linux. Let's go to the download page and see if there's instructions for getting it for Linux. Aha, so here we go. So my operating system family is Linux. Oh, I got to select my distribution right now. So my distribution is Ubuntu, which is technically similar to, it's an offshoot of Debian, but they have a, if they didn't have a Ubuntu as an option, I would have chosen Debian. Oh, okay. So I think I've got it included in my installation. It came with it. So let's try this command here, psql, not found. Okay, but it looks like we have instructions here for how to install it. So let's just follow the instructions given to me right in my operating system. All right, so psql, and let's see which version I got, just to be extra super sure. I don't see anything about the version. All right, that's okay. Hopefully it's the right version. Let's just move on. PSQL. So no existing local cluster is suitable as a default target. Please see man for one, how to specify one. Error, you must install at least one client version package. Oh, okay, okay. So this looks good. Um, we're gonna try to install 11.6. So let's try that. Let's do a sudo apt update, just because I haven't done that yet. It's typically pretty important to do that. And then we're gonna copy this. All right, and then sudo apt install, paste 11.6. Couldn't find it. Okay, so here we have 10, but we don't have 11, which is interesting. You know what? Let's not mess around here. I'm not confident that I'm going to be on the right track unless I follow these instructions. So these instructions came right from PostSQL itself, PostSQL, gresql.org. They're for Ubuntu. I've got Ubuntu, so let's not screw around and let's follow these steps so that we can use the apt repository to Oh, actually, never mind. So it is included. It's included in the distribute in the file. So we do have to install it. Um, so let's do that. Let's uninstall what we did before. So we're gonna uninstall. So we'll do a remove. Yep. Okay, so and now we'll follow the instructions here. We don't have to follow these more difficult instructions. This is for adding it to like our actual repo if it's not included in the files that the distribution pulls from to install packages. Uh, in our case, it is since we're using Ubuntu. So I'll do apt-get install PostgreSQL 11. And there is no 11. Let's try it with 12. There is no 12. Okay, so that's okay. Um, yeah, that's fine. Now I do need to follow these instructions here. I can't see what was here, so we're gonna open like a Notepad++. Okay, so we got a problem here. No valid uh, PGP data found. So maybe I misspelled something here. So MED, yep, so I did medial instead of media. Yeah, so we're going to be pulling a key from this file here. So we got to pull from the right location in order to get the right key. That's why they didn't find any valid data because it didn't have the address to the valid data. But now we can see we've got an OK. And if I do a control click on this, we'll see what the key is. So okay, so it's a file. So let's just open it with a text editor. Take a look quick and then move on. Okay, so here it is. It's long key. So that's why we're pulling. I couldn't type all this in. So, but thankfully we can just pull it from a file. All right. So next step is to update our package manager. Perfect. Oh. Does not have a release file. Updating from such a repository cannot be done securely and is therefore disabled by default. Okay. Does not have a release file. So let's make sure that this is correct. Yep, it looks fine to me. LSB release /CS. So I have a mistake here. PGDP instead of G. So let's run that that again so that it's in the. So this is command 55, and then we'll go back to it in the buffer. And this is not a P. This is a G. Okay, so now it should work. So this is command 58. All right, yeah, it fetched everything. Everything's good. So now it's asking if we want the latest version, or here the next part of the tutorial is okay. So let's try this command, but we're gonna do -11 and see if that works because we want version 11.6. Yep, okay, we got 11.6, it looks like. Perfect. Okay, yeah, so if there's ever instructions like this, follow the instructions. I don't know why I sometimes have an instinct to kind of, whenever I get like instructions like this, to ignore them. I guess I've been hurt before. I've gotten instructions like this. I've followed, 100 steps. I get to step 98 and it doesn't work. So, but those instructions work just fine. So after this download is complete, we'll try this set of commands again, and hopefully we'll have better luck. All right, it's taking a bit of time, so I'll pause it and be back. All right, so I took a bit of an extended break there. Undoubtedly, the download is complete, unless it's a really long download. Nope, the download's complete. Oops, so we've got to Perhaps a problem there. Oh, it looks like we got to restart the database. Uh, oh, okay. So we've got to start the database. Okay, but let's do we got to start the database server. Let's do that. We're gonna do pg stir 11 main start. I think that'll. Um, so I did C. Oh, I did CLT instead of CTL. Before doing that, let's try a PSQL, and it should. Yeah. So PSQL didn't work. So let's try that database starting command again and see if it works after the database is started. So we got to run it as sudo. Uh, 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 okay, I seem to be having a lot of trouble with this. Let's just slow things down. Oh, you know what? It gave me the command to run up here, so I can just copy and paste it. Okay, there we go. So now it's started. So hopefully we'll have better luck with this next command. Don't have good luck with that command. Let's try it with sudo. Okay. Huh. Okay, let's try to get the instructions back up. Okay, let's Google for this error message. We might have to create a role. So hopefully we'll find instructions on how to do that pretty easily. Oh, you know what? We can research for that. This is variable input, so we'll take that out. There we go. And now we get a much closer match to what we're actually looking for. Because that was info specific to my system. So if I take that out, I'll get something that is more useful. Okay, so it looks like this is a way to create the role. So let's try that. And then the owning user is going to be GNS3. Okay, now let's do PSQL again. Oh, so we still don't have. Uh, oh my God. Oh, okay. So we don't. We now we have a role, but we don't have a database now. Okay, so we just got to create a database here. Um, okay, so let's try this command create DB. I think we're gonna end up creating a database eventually. So if I can see the oh yeah. So count word dev is going to be the name of that. I don't know why, because it looks like they wanted me to create the database after booting this up, but this won't boot up unless I create the database beforehand. It looks like so a bit confusing there. We're gonna do sudo create db. Oh, so didn't work. Could not connect to database template one. Okay. So let's do, and we're gonna name instead of template one, let's name it, or let's just try it. Let's just try it exactly as it was. Oh, okay. Here we go. So now we've got a database here. Um, uh, okay. Okay. So let's make one named word count underscore dev. Oh, okay. So, um, yeah, this is a lot different than the instructions here. We can't just do PSQL because the database does not exist. So can we just create one, name that? No. Oh, I think I've got to give, I got to change my, I've got to give permissions. Huh. How do I create a database without... So it looks like I can't open PSQL until I've created a database, but I can't create a database until I open PSQL. Okay, that worked. Oh, that did not work. All right, I'm really confused here. So I think what I'm going to do is uninstall it and install it again. So I'm going to do apt get remove post Drea SQL-11 with a sudo, and then we'll reinstall it, rerun command 64, and then run the steps I was looking at before. Okay, so now now that we've got kind of a fresh install, we're gonna start this again. Let me try the command one more time and make sure that PSQL that the role is missing. Okay, so it looks like the database is missing again. It's not that the role is missing; it's that the database is missing again. So if I try to follow these instructions, I think I'll get that same error where the role already exists. Yeah, the role already exists. So I got to get rid of the role somehow. Okay, so let's try to remove everything. So we're going to run command 110 again. All right, and then we're going to okay, and we'll remove this whole thing, this comment as well. Okay, hopefully that'll do it. Okay, so now if I pipe grep apt, okay, now I can do a install again, and hopefully that is better. And then I'll try the PSQL or the yeah, PSQL command, and hopefully the role is missing again now. Nope, the role exists, but the database does not. Okay, well, then I'll just move down to this step and I'll create the database. So create DB and then GNS3. Oh, okay. That worked. Oh, boom, we got it. Okay. All right, that's good enough for me. Oops, I did not want to close that. There we go. All right, so yeah, now that we've got this working so that uh, it opens like this, even though we've got a different now we are using 11.13 and they're using 11.6, so maybe that's the difference there. But let's just keep using it. We're gonna enter command create database word count dev. There we go, and then we're gonna quit. All right, so in order to use our newly created database within the Flask app, we need to install a few things. So we need to go to this flask-by-example directory. Seeding into the directory should activate the virtual environment and set the environment variables found in the .env file via auto env, which we set up in part 1. Okay, and I don't remember doing that. Um, yeah, I don't remember an auto env file. Yeah, I don't see one. So I'm not sure what they're talking about. I don't remember doing that, and the link they provide doesn't have that. So yeah, I don't know what they're talking about. Let's just activate the virtual environment I have here. So source bnv bin activate. Okay, and then we'll run these commands here. You know what? I want to copy and paste that. This video is already an hour and 13, so I'm running out of time. So the real python.com that search Flask by example. Hmm. For some reason, it's not searching. I'm not sure what's going on. Oh, here we go. It's at the bottom there. Okay, so we're on this part here. Okay, so now we got to run these commands. Hmm. Okay, that command is not found. Let's try the command python3 instead. Still command not found. Let's try just doing it one at a time. Oh, I've got an extra $sign at the beginning. There we go. Oh no. Hmm. Oh, okay. Perfect. I just needed to do the dash binary version. It says that down here. You may need to install the dash binary version if your installation fails. All right. So the next step is to update the configuration. Add the this field to the config class in your config.py file to set your app to use the newly created database in development, local staging, and production. Okay, so we can look at the instructions here for that. Okay, perfect. Yeah, it's just the way it goes sometimes. Like, unfortunately, um, sometimes it's just hard to get things to work. Looks good to me. Your config.py file should now look like this. Okay, so my config.py file does not look like that. I'm missing a line here, this base directory line. So yeah, I've got a lot of things that are changed here. Okay, so let's make the config.py file look like that. And you know what? We'll do it by blowing away the whole file um, and just pasting in what's in here. Now when our config is loaded into our app, the appropriate database will be connected to it as well. Okay, let's do that. Okay, and we'll leave this one just because. So we'll do a WQ. We'll write it, and then we'll do a copy config.py to config py.bak, and then we'll do uh, oh, okay, yeah, there's extra space there. There we go. So now we've got a backup of that file. And if we want to revert back to it, we just rename it to the original .py. So now we'll remove the original file here, recreate it, set paste, paste in. So now it matches the tutorial, and we still have the file as it was before in case we need it again. Now when our config is loaded into our app, the appropriate database will be connected to it as well. Similar to how we added an environment variable in the last post, we're going to add a database underscore URL variable. Run this in the terminal. and then add that line to your .env file. I don't have a .env file. All right, so let's make one, I guess. Do I have one here? I don't. All right, let's create one then. So we're gonna do vi.env, and then we're gonna add this line. I'm just gonna copy paste it. And of course we can't have this leading character in there. So I'll make sure to delete that after I paste it in. There we go. In your app.py file, import SQL Alchemy and connect it to the database. Okay, so this is another one. We're gonna obsolete our old version, so we'll do a copy app.py to app.py.bak. Then we'll remove the original app.py and create a brand new file, set paste I, and then we'll just paste in exactly what they have to make sure there's no discrepancies across tutorials. Data model. Set up a basic data model by adding a models.py file. Here we created a table to store the results of the word counts. Okay, this is another one. I'm just gonna, for the sake of time, paste in directly from the tutorial. It's probably important to know exactly what's going on there, but let's just try to get everything to work. First, we import the database connection that we created in our app.py file, as well as JSON from SQL Alchemy's PostGRE SQL dialects. JSON columns are fairly new to PostGRES and not available in every database supported by SQL Alchemy, so we need to import it specifically. Next, we created a result class and assigned it a table name of results. We then set the attributes that we want to store for a result, the ID of the result we stored. So let's take a look at models. So here we go. Here's the ID of the result we want stored. The URL that we counted the words from, a full list of words that we counted, a list of words that we counted minus stop words. More on this later. We then created an dunder init method right here that will run the first time we create a new result, and finally a dunder reaper method right here to represent the object when we query it. Local migration. We are going to use Alembic, which is part of Flask Migrate, to manage database migrations to update the database's schema. Note, Flask Migrate makes use of Flask's new CLI tool. However, this article uses the interface provided by Flask script, which was used before by Flask Migrate. In order to use it, you'll need to install it via these commands, which we will copy and paste. Oops, something went wrong there. Copy and paste. There we go. Oh, so it looks like we got a problem again here. Oh, actually, it looks like it failed. And then it tried again, and it looks like it succeeded after a second try. Let's just try this one more time, and see if we get a, yep, already satisfied. So no failure messages on the second try. The first try actually, there was a failure message, but it triggered a process afterward where there was not a failure message. Okay, so I think I'm losing my clipboard because I'm highlighting the terminal. So let's copy that again, make sure I have it, paste. All right, now we've got our requirements file ready to go. Okay, now we create a new file called manage.py. We're just going to copy that in there. Okay, in order to use Flask migrate, we imported manager as well as migrate and migrate command to our manage.py file. We also imported app and db, so we have access to them from within the script. First, we set our config to get our environment based on the environment variable, created a migrate instance with app and db as the arguments, and set up a manager command to utilize a manager instance for our app. Finally, we added the db command to the manager so that we can run the migrations from the command line. In order to run the migrations, initialize a leanback. All right, moment of truth. Nope. Key error. So in our app .py, um, on line 7, we've got an error here. So app.config from object os.environ app settings. So key error, we don't have. So we got a in our .env file. We're going to have to add a line for app settings. So let's do echo app settings equals, and now I'm not sure what to set this to. Okay, so we're going to set it to config dot config staging. Config dot staging config. All right, same error. Oh, maybe I need a. I might need quotes. Uh, All right, let's try. Let's try actually. Oh, you know what? I think I need export. That's probably why that didn't work. Let's try that. Okay, for some reason it's frozen. I don't know what happened. Yeah, it's frozen. All right, well, if it's just straight up gonna freeze, let me try stopping it, restarting it. There we go. Okay, now we'll do cat env by .env x. Oh, I think my history is clear. Oh no, it's not. Okay, so let's try command 170. Oh, here we go. 70 again. Oh my God, what the heck? Oh, I see. I need an S. It's app settings instead of app setting. Okay. I did not want that to happen, so I will close the file and reopen it. There we go. Now, is it supposed to be settings or is it supposed to be setting? Settings for sure. Settings. All right, so let's try actually entering these commands. Okay, that looks better to me. So we've got to edit these logging settings before proceeding. Hopefully that's the next part of the tutorial. Yep. After you run the database initialization, you will see a new folder called migrations in the project. Let's look for that. I don't, okay, okay, I see it, yep. This holds the setup necessary for Alembic to run migrations against the project. Inside of migrations, you will see a folder called versions. Let's use the tree command for that. There we go, versions, which will contain the migration scripts as they are created. Let's create our first migration by running the migrate command. And it didn't work, of course, because it never works. Maybe I need a sudo. Python 3, maybe? Let's try that. No module named Flask script. Oh. Oh, here we go. From Flask script import manager. Yeah, we don't have anything called Flask script. Oh, which is weird because I thought we installed it. Let's try installing it again. Oh, okay. Yeah, we were able to do it. So why can't I do it here? Import manager. It says the database doesn't exist. All right. So now you'll notice in your versions folder there's a migration file. This file is auto-generated by Alembic based on the model. You could generate or edit this file yourself. However, for most cases, the auto-generated file will do. Now we'll apply the upgrades to the database using the db upgrade command. Okay, so let's see if the file generated. I don't think it will. Or cd migrations ls. Oh, in my versions folder. Yeah, I don't have a, or let's do a cd migrations, tree versions. Yeah, I don't have anything in there. And that's because the Python manage.py db migrate command did not work. And it doesn't work because um, database does not exist. Wow, this is really frustrating. Oh, okay. So I think there were some errors in the tutorial that are addressed here. Okay, so it should happen if I run this as well. Let me try this. Uh, okay, so let me try let me see if this shows up in any of my files. Okay. What the heck? I'm starting to get frustrated. I don't know why this isn't working. Oh, let me try to put this in quotes. Still nothing. All right, let's try this. See, I wonder if you need three. I don't. I think maybe they accidentally added an extra forward slash here because you can see a URL only has two forward slashes. I don't know why there's three. Maybe it's an escape character or something. But yeah, I'm gonna try taking out one of these forward slashes and see if that just magically resolves all of my issues, of which I have a lot. Okay, so it looks like my config.py file. Yeah, database URL. Yeah, yeah. So I think this is wrong from the tutorial. I think it only has two forward slashes. Okay, let's try this now. Command 170. Oh, okay. Okay, so command 70 was just initiating. So that worked. So we want to actually try this migrate command. That's the command we're interested in seeing if it works or not. Okay, and we can see it does not work. I'm surprised nobody's created like easier to use databases yet. I don't get it. Oh, okay, this is interesting. So it could not. So here it's not even able to attempt to try to go there. So I think it does need three forward slashes for some reason. Uh, so here it's operational error, could not translate hostname to address, name or service unknown. So let's try taking one of these slashes out and see how that error changes. Same thing. Yeah, I think it's got to be local host. I think it's got to look like this. Let's try this. Yeah, let's try this. Because this is not a valid, like this is not a good database URL. Oh, the other thing is I forgot to actually, I think I forgot to actually like run. Yeah, because if I just do the migration, it's still using the old values. So I have to actually run the commands, unfortunately. Oh, okay. All right, so now we're getting better. We've got um, the password authentication failed. All right, so let's try what we had before, where we just had two forward slashes instead of one. But we'll actually export that now. We'll actually run the command. Okay, and then we'll try the migration. Yeah, see, this is what I mean. Like, this is a URL, so that we can't add. We've got to have like an IP address or something there. So let's do localhost slash. Yeah, this part of the tutorial I think is really broken. There we go. Okay, and that's not an IP address, but if we look at our static DNS mapping file, we can see localhost is mapped to this IP address. So we do have an IP address. We could also use GNS3. That's mapped to localhost IP as well. All right, so let's do something here. What do I want to do? Let me think. Oh, I want to run the migrate command again. And actually, before I do that, I want to make sure that I've redefined that variable. There we go. Okay, so now we made it in. We just don't have a password now. Okay. So let's do this. GNS3 colon GNS3 at password authentication failed. No password supplied. Okay, so I think we need to set up a password. Uh, Okay, that already exists. That's fine. All right, so I gotta supply it a password, but I don't have a password defined, but I don't know how to define a password. It sounds like in order to define a password, you have to have defined a password. Because I've been trying to set up a user, I can't set up a user. Um, I've been trying to set up a user in order to get permissions to create a database, but in order to create a database, you have to set up a user. It seems like there's like a circular logic issue going on where like they're telling me to do something, but I can't do that thing until I do something else. So I think I'm done. I think I'm on the right track with this here. I definitely think there's an error in the tutorial. I don't think a URL is valid if there's three slashes. Um, So you know what I might do? Let's Google for this because maybe somebody listed that and on a forum somewhere and said, "Hey, this is an error." But that's definitely an error. You can't have three forward slashes there. So this looks like a forum or something. So let's see if they're discussing it there. And let's use quotes in our search so that we're uh, ignoring any special characters. Oh, here we go. Okay, that looks. Now it looks like they have a virtual environment, Python virtual environment named env instead of venv. I'm not sure what that's all about. Oh, looks like a painting outside. Um, okay. Yeah, I don't think this is right. Um, so I think I'm done. I'm kind of at my wit's end with this. This has been my experience with these tutorials a lot of the times before. Um, I really, I don't think, I don't know what the problem is here, but I think I'm on the right track with this tutorial here. Uh, yeah, so I'm on the right track with this. Um, the other problem could be I'm using the wrong version. I'm using a newer version of 11, and I've got like a different prompt and stuff, I think, because of that. These instructions are for a very old version, version 9, I think. So that could be the problem as well. But I think that's all I've got. Just it's frustrating to be to I'm at my wit's end, and it's over 2 hours, so I've really been giving it a good try. So let me set up what my next. So yeah, my next video will be t-shooting this local migration section. I'll probably have to reinstall or I don't know. I don't know. I'll leave that until the next one. Right now, my brain's kind of fries. So thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the next video where I troubleshoot and solve hopefully this issue.